Let's dive right into one of the biggest financial challenges, maybe the biggest for many of us, housing costs, rent.
Yeah, it's huge. That massive number hitting your bank account every month, it can feel, well, pretty fixed, right?
Exactly. Like you
Yeah.
just have to pay up or, I don't know, move super far away.
Mm.
But what if that's not the only way? What if you could actually get some leverage, maybe even lower your rent?
It's a powerful thought, especially now. And the sources we looked at for this deep dive, they suggest it's maybe more than just wishful thinking.
Oh,
Yeah, this collection of articles, research, notes, it all points towards something called the revolutionary rent hack.
the revolutionary rent hack. Okay, sounds interesting. So our mission here is basically to unpack all that material, pull out the key ideas, figure out what this hack actually is, how it works, and, how you listening might use it.
Right. To save money, negotiate better.
It's about shifting from just accepting the price tag to actively participating, maybe.
Precisely. Becoming an active player in that negotiation.
Okay, so first things first. Let's just quickly touch on why saving on rent is such a big deal for so many people. It seems obvious, but
Well, it really boils down to the sheer size of it. For most renters, it is the single biggest monthly expense. So any savings there, it ripples through everything else.
right, it's not just like finding an extra 20 bucks.
Not at all. Think about what that freed up cash can do. You could finally build that emergency fund, maybe start saving for retirement, pay down debt faster.
Or even just, fund hobbies or education,
Right.
things that make life better.
Exactly. Personal growth, travel.
Yep.
Or just creating some breathing room in the budget so one unexpected car repair doesn't throw everything off track.
And there's a mental side too, isn't there? The stress of high rent.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. Worrying about making rent every month causes so much anxiety. Reducing that cost can genuinely improve your well-being, your mental health.
Less worry, more focus elsewhere, and potentially a better lifestyle. Maybe afford a slightly better area.
It can open up options, yeah, maybe a shorter commute or living somewhere with better parks or schools. We saw a really good example in the sources, Sarah. A recent grad in a big city.
What did she do?
She actually used the market research and negotiation ideas from this approach, dug into the data,
Yeah.
managed to negotiate her rent down by $300 a month.
Wow, $300. That's significant.
Totally life-changing for her. She used it to hammer away at student loans and start investing. It gave her a real leg up, financially speaking.
Okay, $300 a month really drives home the why. So if you want to negotiate, you need to understand the playing field. What factors actually, influence rent prices?
The sources point to a few key things. Location is almost always number one. Urban centers, places near jobs, good transport, cool amenities, they just command higher prices.
Makes sense, compared to like suburbs or rural areas.
Right. Then there's the basic market stuff, supply and demand. How many places are available versus how many people are looking.
So peak season versus off season.
Exactly. Summer is often peak season, more demand, potentially higher prices. Winter, things slow down. Landlords might be more eager to fill an empty place, which, gives you an edge.
Okay, what about the apartment itself? Condition, amenities?
Big factor, a brand new kitchen, in-unit laundry, maybe a building gym or pool, that all pushes the price up. An older place maybe needs a bit of work, lacks those extras, usually rents for less.
And how long you plan to stay, does that matter?
It can, yeah. Landlords like stability. Less turnover means less hassle and cost for them. So the sources suggest offering to sign a longer lease, say 18 months or 2 years instead of just one, can be a good bargaining chip.
So offering them security could get you a lower monthly rate.
Potentially. They might go for it. And again, those seasonal factors we mentioned, winter vacancies, are something landlords really want to avoid.
Okay, understanding those forces is one thing. But how do you actually research this stuff? How do you find out the real trends?
The research methods are crucial. You start online, obviously. Zillow, Trulia, apartments.com, those big sites. But don't just look at the current asking prices.
What else?
Look for data on average rents in the specific neighborhood you're interested in. See if you can find historical trends. And notice how many listings are available. Lots of empty places might signal softer demand.
So use the big data, but dig deeper.
Right. And then combine that with on-the-ground intelligence. The sources really emphasize talking to local renters.
How do you do that?
Social media groups for the neighborhood, Community forums online, even just striking up conversations if you know people living there. They can give you the real scoop on specific buildings, landlord reputations, maybe even if people are successfully negotiating.
Getting that local knowledge.
Exactly. And visiting open houses isn't just about seeing the unit. Check the condition versus the price. See how responsive the landlord or agent seems, and count how many other people are there. A packed open house means lots of competition. A quiet one, maybe not so much.
Interesting. Anything else on the research front? Broader trends?
Yeah, keep an eye on local economic stuff. Is the job market growing? What's the unemployment rate? Local real estate reports can give clues too. And watch for neighborhood development, new shops, parks, schools opening up can signal an area is improving, which might mean future rent increases.
Okay, got it. Research is key.
Mhm.
So now let's really get into this revolutionary rent hack. What is it, fundamentally?
Okay, so at its core, the sources describe it as a strategic way for renters to, well, empower themselves using data and negotiation. And it's really important to stress this isn't about tricks or being shady.
It's about being informed, using that research we just talked about.
That's a huge part of it. The main idea is to stop being just a passive applicant who takes whatever price is offered. Instead, you approach it like an informed consumer. And you prepare yourself to look like a really great tenant.
Because landlords want good tenants.
Exactly. Reliable, responsible people. Showing you're that kind of tenant is a big piece of the puzzle.
So what are the main parts of this hack?
The material kind of breaks it down into three things. Market analysis, knowing the scene. Preparation, having your data and your tenant resume ready. And communication skills, knowing how to talk, negotiate, build some rapport.
I like the analogy in the sources. It's like prepping for a job interview.
It really is. You wouldn't walk into an interview cold, right? You'd research the company, understand the job, prep your answers. Same idea here. Apply that diligence to finding and securing your rental.
Okay, makes sense. So with that preparation mindset, what are the actual steps? How does the hack work in practice?
All right, step one is that deep research we discussed. But go beyond just seeing asking prices. Find actual comparable properties, same building, same neighborhood, and see what they really rented for recently. Use those websites, maybe public records if available, local insights. You need hard data.
Concrete numbers to back you up.
Yeah.
Got it. Then timing.
Yeah, think about timing. Remember the seasonal trends? Late fall, winter, often less competition, maybe more landlord motivation. Also, look for places that have been listed for a while, that can signal they're eager to rent it out.
Okay, data, timing, then presenting yourself.
Crucial step. You need to package yourself as a prime tenant. Have everything ready to go. Proof of stable income, glowing references from past landlords, maybe proof of a good credit score, a clean rental history. Show them you're low risk and reliable.
Make yourself the obvious, easy choice.
Exactly. Then comes the actual negotiation. This is where you use your data. Be polite, professional, express genuine interest in their specific apartment. Then you gently bring in your research.
Like, hey, I really like this place, but I noticed similar units nearby are going for X.
Precisely. Based on my research of comparable properties like A, B, and C renting for dollars, my offer is it shows you've done your homework. It's not just pulling a number out of thin air.
Adds weight to your request.
Definitely. And another tactic the sources highlight, offer a longer lease. If you plan to stay put anyway, offering an 18-month or 2-year lease gives the landlord security they value. They might drop the monthly rent in exchange for that.
What if they just won't lower the rent price itself?
Then be ready to negotiate other things. Maybe ask for a lower security deposit. Or see if they'll waive fees for parking or storage if those usually cost extra. Could they include certain utilities like water or trash? Find other areas where they might have flexibility.
So compromise is possible, even if the headline rent number doesn't move.
Right. Find other ways to save or get value. Mark's example in the material showed this whole process working.
Tell us about Mark.
Mark did his homework, found comps renting for $150 less. He went to the landlord of the place he really wanted, politely presented his findings, and what happened?
You got the reduction.
Yep. He got the lower rent and locked it in with a longer lease. It really shows how being prepared and asking politely but directly, backed by data, can work.
It really does shift the dynamic. Okay, so let's walk through implementing this step by step, starting with step one, identifying the opportunities. Where do you look?
It starts with smart neighborhood research, like we said. Don't just look at the hottest, trendiest spots. Maybe check out areas that are up and coming or neighborhoods right next to the popular ones that might be a bit cheaper. Create a checklist of your reads and see what fits.
Look slightly off the beaten path, maybe?
Could be where the value is. And use those local resources, smaller rental agencies, community groups. They often have listings or insights you won't find on the big national websites.
Right, that insider knowledge again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep tracking the market trends as you search, and pay attention at those open houses. How long has this place been listed? If it's been sitting for weeks, the landlord might be more willing to deal.
Jenna's story was about this, right? Finding value.
Yeah, Jenna was moving to a new city. She deliberately looked at some lesser-known neighborhoods based on her research. Found a great place, maybe not the absolute trendiest zip code, but much more affordable and still near parks and things she liked. Balanced cost and quality of life.
Okay, found a promising place.
Yeah.
Step 2, the negotiation itself. How do you structure that conversation?
Preparation again. Build your case before you talk to them. Have your comps ready, specific addresses, rents. Line up your prime tenant evidence. Proof of income, references, good history. Know if you're willing to offer a longer lease. And the approach. Professional but friendly. Try for face-to-face if you can. It often builds better rapport.
And when you make your pitch,
Be clear, be respectful, start positive. I really like the apartment, especially mention a specific feature. Then gently introduce your research. I've looked at similar places nearby, like X and Y, which are renting for around price. Based on that, I'd like to propose your offer. Frame it as being informed by the market.
sort of collaborative, not demanding, like Lisa in the sources.
Exactly. Lisa complimented the place first, then shared her data. It created a better atmosphere, focused on finding a fair market price together.
Timing matters here too, like mentioning it's the slow season.
It can help. If you know the unit's been empty a while or it's December, subtly weaving that into the conversation can remind them that a good tenant now is better than continued vacancy.
And if you reach an agreement, the final crucial step.
Get it in writing. Absolutely non-negotiable. Every single detail, the rent amount, lease length, any concessions like free parking or included utilities needs to be clearly spelled out in the lease agreement. And both you and the landlord need to sign it.
Verbal agreements don't count.
Not when it comes to leases. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
Document everything.
Okay, implemented the hack, got the deal. Now the fun part, calculating and actually seeing the savings.
Right. This is where you really see the payoff. You need to track your expenses before and after.
So establish a baseline first.
Yep. What was your total housing cost before? Not just rent. Add in utilities, internet, any regular fees, maybe even transport costs if those changed. Get that total monthly number.
Like the example in the sources, $1,500 rent plus $200 other costs, so $1,700 total.
Exactly. That's your baseline. Then, after you've used the hack and secured your new place,
Track the new costs.
set up a simple system, spreadsheet, app, notebook, whatever works for you. Record the new rent, any changes in utilities if that was part of the deal, and clearly note the difference, the savings.
So using that example, if the new rent is $1,300 and other costs stay at $200, the new total is $1,500.
Right, and the saving is clear. $1,700 minus $1,500 equals $400 saved every single month.
$400 a month. That adds up incredibly fast over a year. The sources had some real examples of this kind of saving.
They did. Alex's story paying $2,200 in a hot area. Researched comps slightly further out, around $1,800. Used that info to negotiate his target place down to $1,900.
That's $300 a month right there.
$3,600 a year. His total housing bill with utilities dropped from about $2,400 to $2,100. Huge difference.
And Maria.
Maria was paying $1,700 for a studio, got intel from a community group about similar places going for $1,500, negotiated hers down to $1,550.
Saving at $150 a month.
$1,800 a year. She put that towards savings and some well-deserved self-care, the note said.
Nice. And the longer lease strategy paid off for Kevin and Aaron.
Yep. They were looking at a family place listed at $2,500. Research showed similar spots were more like $2,300 and $2,400. They explicitly offered a longer commitment.
Then got the rent
Down to $2,350. Another $150 a month, $1,800 a year, which they decided to put straight into their kids' college fund. These examples really show the tangible impact.
It definitely sounds powerful. But let's be real. Negotiation isn't always smooth sailing. What if the landlord just says no? Pushes back.
Yeah, landlord resistance is definitely something you might encounter. The key is not to take it personally and try to understand where they're coming from.
What do you mean? Their perspective.
Well, remember, they have costs too. Mortgages, taxes, repairs. It's a business for them. If they seem hesitant, you could try politely asking why. What are their concerns? Their answer might actually help you adjust your strategy.
And keep highlighting your own value.
Absolutely critical. Remind them you're a great catch. Reliable payments, good references, you'll take care of the place. And if applicable, mention that longer lease offer again. Sometimes framing it as reliable income, even if slightly less versus potential vacancy, helps.
Like Emma's story. The landlord was hesitant at first.
Exactly. Emma's landlord wasn't sure, but after checking her excellent references and seeing her solid rental history, they felt reassured about her reliability and agreed to the lower rent. Her quality as a tenant tipped the scales.
Okay, but what if they truly won't budge on the actual rent number? Like zero movement.
That's when you pivot to those other negotiable items we talked about. Can they reduce the security deposit? Throw in free parking or storage? Cover the water bill? Include lawn maintenance? Get creative. Find some value or cost saving elsewhere in the deal.
So flexibility is key. And what if the first chat doesn't seal the deal?
Don't be afraid to follow up politely. Maybe they just need time to think it over, especially if your offer is below asking. A simple, polite email or call a day or two later, just wanted to follow up, any thoughts on my proposal, can keep the conversation going without being pushy.
Good tips. Now, beyond the negotiation itself, what about legal stuff? Things renters need to know.
Oh, this is huge. You absolutely must know your local rental laws. Every state, sometimes even city, has specific rules about tenant rights, rent increases, eviction processes, lease requirements.
Where do you find that info? It sounds complicated.
Your state's housing authority website is usually a good start. Also, look for local tenants' rights groups or legal aid societies. They often have resources specifically for renters in your area.
And the lease document itself.
Read it, every single word, before you sign anything, and definitely before you try to negotiate a renewal. Understand the rent amount, due dates, late fees, rules about breaking the lease, who's responsible for what repairs, how the security deposit works, all of it.
The sources mentioned Jessica learning this the hard way.
Yeah, a cautionary tale. She didn't fully read or understand some clauses and ended up stuck with unfavorable terms. Being informed about the market and your specific lease is crucial.
And keeping records. You mentioned getting things in writing.
Essential. Keep copies of emails, notes from conversations, and most importantly, make sure any agreement rent reduction, included utilities, whatever is written into the final lease document and signed by both you and the landlord. That paper trail protects you if there's ever a dispute. Don't rely on handshake deals.
Okay, solid advice. We've covered the hack, how to do it, the savings, the challenges. Let's zoom out a bit, the long-term financial benefits, the bigger picture.
Right, because the monthly savings are great, obviously. But the real power comes from what that money enables over the long haul. It can genuinely change your financial trajectory.
How so? Beyond just having more cash each month.
Well, take that $300 a month saving again. That's $3,600 a year. That's serious money you can now purposefully direct towards big goals.
Like really attacking debt or building savings faster.
Exactly. Paying off high-interest credit cards, building that emergency fund much quicker. Remember, Jamie used her $200 monthly saving to build her safety net, which gave her huge peace of mind.
And having lower fixed costs probably encourages better financial planning overall.
It often does, yeah. When your biggest bill is smaller, you might feel more motivated to really look at your budget, set specific goals, maybe saving for a down payment, planning a trip, investing, and use tools to track your progress.
Which brings us to maybe the most powerful long-term benefit, investing the savings.
This is where you really start building wealth. Instead of just letting that saved money sit, putting it to work in investments allows it to grow over time through compounding.
What kinds of investment options do the sources suggest?
They mention things like bumping up contributions to retirement accounts, your 401k and IRA. Even small increases add up massively over time, especially if you get an employer match.
What about outside of retirement accounts?
Investing in the stock market is a common one, maybe through diversified, low-cost options like index funds or ETFs, or individual stocks if you're up for the research.
Anything else? Real estate?
Yeah, even if you're renting, things like REITs, real estate investment trusts, let you invest in real estate indirectly. And don't forget investing in yourself. Using saved money for education or skills training can boost your earning potential down the line. That's a great investment.
Alex, who saved $300 a month, he invested his savings, right?
He did. Took that $400 monthly saving, $4,800 a year, and put it into a diversified portfolio. The sources projected that over, say, 5 years, even with just moderate growth, that could become a really significant sum, building real financial security.
So it's not just about saving $150 or $300 a month now. It's about creating a foundation for long-term independence and wealth.
It fundamentally changes the equation. That rent money goes from being just an expense to being a source of savings and future growth. The impact is much bigger than just the monthly number.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive into the revolutionary rent hack has been, well, pretty eye-opening. Just to recap the big takeaways, we're talking real cost savings, much more financial flexibility, learning valuable negotiation skills.
Plus, the potential for long-term financial growth if you invest those savings, and honestly, just a better quality of life with less financial stress hanging over you.
And the examples Sarah, Mark, Alex, Maria, Kevin, and Aaron, they show this isn't just theory. People are actually doing this successfully.
Absolutely. It's attainable.
So for you listening, the encouragement is to give it a shot. Do the research. Really understand your local market. Maybe practice your negotiation approach. Try to build a positive professional relationship with potential landlords. Track your expenses. See the difference. And crucially, have a plan for those savings.
Make the savings work for you.
Right. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Renting doesn't have to feel like you're just passively handing over huge sums of money with no control.
By being proactive, getting informed, and feeling confident enough to advocate for yourself and your value as a tenant, well, you really can change the game. You can significantly impact your financial future starting right now.